Welcome to True Fear Files, where we uncover the darkest and most chilling true stories that the world tried to forget. I'm your host, and tonight, we're diving into one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of all time. A mystery so terrifying, so impossible to explain, that even after 65 years, no one knows what really happened on that frozen mountain. Imagine you're camping in the middle of nowhere. It's negative 30 degrees outside. You're safe and warm inside your tent. Then suddenly, something so terrifying happens that you cut through your own tent from the inside and run barefoot into the freezing night. You'd rather face certain death in the cold than stay one more second in that tent. What could be so horrifying that 9 experienced hikers would make that choice? This is the story of the Dyatlov Pass Incident. And I'm warning you, the truth is far more disturbing than any horror movie. February 1959, the height of the Cold War. Deep in the Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia, 9 young hikers embarked on what should have been a challenging but routine expedition. They were students and graduates from the Ural Polytechnic Institute, all experienced in long ski treks and mountain hiking. Their leader was 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, a skilled outdoorsman who had planned the route himself. The goal was to reach Otorten, a mountain about 200 miles north. It was a difficult journey, classified as Category 3, the most difficult level. But for this group, it should have been manageable. They had the experience, they had the equipment, they had each other. On January 27th, they set off with confidence and excitement. 10 people began the journey. One member, Yuri Yudin, turned back early due to illness. That decision saved his life. He would be the only one to return home alive. The other 9 continued into the wilderness. They would never be seen alive again. By February 1st, the group had reached the eastern slopes of a mountain called Kholat Syakhl. In the local Mansi language, the name means dead mountain. They began to set up camp for the night. But something went wrong. Horribly, inexplicably wrong. What happened next defies all logic and explanation. At some point during the night, all 9 members of the group tore through their tent from the inside. Not unzipped it, not opened it. They slashed it open with knives, and then they ran in the middle of a blizzard, in negative 30-degree temperatures. Most of them were barefoot or in socks. Some wore only underwear. They fled down the slope toward a nearby forest, leaving behind their boots, their coats, their survival gear. Everything. Experienced hikers don't do this. Not unless something absolutely terrifying forces them to. So what were they running from? No one knows. And that's where this mystery begins. 3 weeks later, on February 26th, search parties finally reached the abandoned campsite. What they found was disturbing. The tent was still standing, but it had been ripped open from the inside. Inside the tent, they found food, warm clothes, and all the equipment the hikers would have needed to survive. Everything was still there, except the hikers. Footprints led away from the tent down the slope. 8 or 9 sets of footprints, some barefoot, some in socks, some in a single boot. The footprints suggested the group had left in an orderly fashion, not in panic. They weren't running chaotically. They were walking calmly toward the forest. But why? Searchers followed the trail. At the edge of the forest, under a large cedar tree, they found the first 2 bodies, Yuri Krivonischenko and Yuri Doroshenko. Both were dressed only in underwear. Both were frozen to death. The branches of the cedar tree above them had been broken, suggesting someone had climbed up, perhaps to look back at the campsite or to see something in the distance. But what? Between the cedar tree and the tent, searchers found 3 more bodies. Igor Dyatlov, the leader, Zinaida Kolmogorova, and Rustem Slobodin. They were found in positions that suggested they had been trying to return to the tent, but they never made it. They froze to death on the mountain. At this point, 5 bodies had been recovered, but 4 hikers were still missing. It took 2 more months to find them. In May, beneath 4 meters of snow in a ravine, searchers discovered the remaining 4 bodies: Lyudmila Dubinina, Alexander Kolevatov, Nikolai Thibault Brignol, and Alexander Zolotaryov. And this is where the case goes from mysterious to absolutely horrifying. These 4 hikers were better dressed than the others. They were wearing clothes that had been taken from those who died first, suggesting they survived longer. But their injuries were catastrophic. Nikolai Thibault Brignol had a massive skull fracture. Lyudmila Dubinina and Alexander Zolotaryov had major chest fractures, ribs broken, internal bleeding. The force required to cause these injuries was compared by Soviet investigators to a high-speed car crash. But there was no car, no vehicle, no external wounds. Just blunt force trauma so severe it shattered bones. Even more disturbing, Lyudmila was missing her tongue, her eyes, and part of her lips. Another victim was missing eyes as well. Some of their clothing was found to be radioactive. Radioactive. Why? How? No one could explain it. The Soviet authorities launched an investigation, but the conclusions were vague and unsatisfying. The official cause of death was listed as a compelling natural force. That's it. No details, no explanation. Just a compelling natural force. The case was quickly closed. The area was declared off-limits to hikers and skiers for 3 years, and the truth, whatever it was buried under layers of Soviet secrecy. For decades, the Dyatlov Pass Incident remained one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in history. But the lack of answers didn't stop the theories. Oh, the theories. Let's talk about the theories, because there are many. Some logical, some bizarre, some downright terrifying. Theory 1, an avalanche. Some investigators believe an avalanche struck the tent during the night, forcing the hikers to cut their way out and flee. But there are problems with this theory. Experienced rescuers found no evidence of an avalanche at the site. The tent was still standing, the slope wasn't steep enough for a major avalanche, and the injuries on the 4 hikers found in the ravine don't match typical avalanche trauma. Theory 2, infrasound. This is a fascinating scientific explanation. Infrasound refers to low-frequency sound waves that humans can't hear but can feel. In certain weather conditions, strong winds passing over mountain peaks can create infrasound, which has been known to cause feelings of dread, panic, nausea, and irrational fear. Could the hikers have been affected by infrasound, causing them to flee the tent in terror? It's possible. But it doesn't explain the massive injuries or the missing body parts. Theory 3, a military test gone wrong. In 1959, the Soviet Union was testing missiles and weapons in the region. Some witnesses reported seeing strange orange spheres in the sky around the time of the incident. Could the hikers have stumbled into a secret military test zone? Were they killed to cover up a government accident? It would explain the radioactive clothing and the sudden closure of the area. but there's no concrete evidence. Theory 4. The Mansi people. The local indigenous Mansi people were known to live in the area, and some believed the hikers had trespassed on sacred land. But the Mansi were peaceful, and there was no history of violence. Investigators ruled this out quickly. Theory 5, and this is where it gets strange: a Yeti or unknown creature. Some people believe the hikers encountered a Yeti or some other unknown creature in the mountains. The footprints, the panic, the fear. Could they have been fleeing from something? It sounds absurd, but when you have no rational explanation, even the irrational starts to seem possible. In 2019, 60 years after the incident, the Russian government reopened the investigation. After reviewing evidence and conducting new tests, they concluded that a small avalanche, combined with strong winds and poor visibility, caused the tragedy. But many experts and Dyatlov Pass enthusiasts reject this conclusion. The evidence simply doesn't fit. The injuries are too severe, the behavior too bizarre, the radioactive clothing too unexplained. So what really happened on Dead Mountain? We may never know. 9 experienced hikers left their tent in the middle of the night in freezing temperatures and walked to their deaths. Some froze. Some suffered injuries that defy explanation. And all of them left behind a mystery that has haunted investigators, scientists, and armchair detectives for over 6 decades. To this day, the Dyatlov Pass Incident remains one of the most chilling unsolved mysteries in history. Was it an avalanche? A military cover-up? Infrasound? Something even stranger? The truth died with those 9 hikers on that frozen mountain. And perhaps some mysteries are meant to stay unsolved. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more terrifying true stories like this. And let me know in the comments, what do you think happened to the Dyatlov group? Until next time, stay safe, and maybe think twice before hiking in the mountains alone.